G'day guys, Justin here, coming at you with another topical video. This one on the prospective Naismith Hall of Fame class of 2018. I'm going to run through the finalists and my final selections for the Hall. This will be the 59th instalment of the Hall of Fame, so without further ado, this actually is it the 60th? 59, and if the first class was in 59, this would be the 60th anniversary class of the Hall of Fame. The 61st class will obviously be next year. So without further ado, here are the finalists and my class selections for the Naismith Hall of Fame class of 2018. So as we go through the finalists here quickly, we have Maurice Cheeks, former point guard in the NBA, Chris Webber, former power forward at Michigan and in the NBA for the Sacramento Kings, most notably. We have Ray Allen, most notably the most three-pointers made of all time and arguably the greatest shooter of all time in the NBA. We have Hugh Evans, we have Tina Thompson, we have Wayland Baptist University, probably the most revolutionary women's program in college basketball history, and obviously Tina Thompson being one of the greatest women's players of all time. Again, we have Grant Hill, most notable for his time at Duke University, played some solid ball with the Detroit Pistons, had some great runs towards the MVP trophy there in the late 90s, but injury slowed his career up. We have Steve Nash, most notably the back-to-back MVP when the rules on defense were relaxed in the mid-2000s, and one of the greatest point guards of all time. We have Jason Kidd, again one of the greatest point guards of all time, two-time Mr. California basketball, notable California U alumnus, and certainly one of the more dominant point guards the game has ever seen. Rudy Tomjanovich, other than the fact that he got punched in the face really hard, was an all-star player in his time with San Diego and Houston, an all-star player, an all-American type player when playing for Michigan, and a two-time championship coach with the Houston Rockets. Charlie Dressel, one of the great college coaches of all time, one of the greatest not to ever win an NCAA championship. Kim Mulkey, the current controversial at the moment head coach for the Baylor Women's University team and one of the greatest women's coaches of all time. And Katie Smith, one of the greatest women's players of all time. My final class reads as follows: Katie Smith, Kim Mulkey, Charlie Dressel, Lefty Dressel, Rudy Tomjanovich, Grant Hill, Jason Kidd, and Steve Nash. So after going through, I was considering putting in a team, and I was considering a couple other things, but I did notice that the rate they put teams in would see that the Baptist Church will be in, the Baptist University will be in next year. No doubt they would certainly be my pick for the team selection. But my first selection would be Katie Smith, obviously a women's player. College career spanned from the 92-93 NCAA season through to the end of the 95-6 NCAA season. Her WNBA career lasted from 1999 through to 2013. She competed at 3 Olympic Games, Sydney in 2000, Athens in 2004, and Beijing in 2008. And her coaching career has only just kicked off since retiring in 2013 from 2014 to present. At college, she played at Ohio State 4 years for 124 games, 20.8 points per game, 5.7 rebounds per game, 3.6 assists per game, 1.4 steals per game, 0.1 blocks per game. Shooting red at 46.9% from the field, 38.7% from deep, and 83.8% from the stripe. In the WNBA, she played for 15 years and 482 games. She made the playoffs 8 times for a total of 43 games. In the regular season, she shot 13.4 points per game, 2.9 rebounds per game, 2.6 assists per game, 0.8 steals per game, and 0.2 blocks per game. Shot 40.4% from the field, 36.7% from deep, and 85.9% from the stripe. In the playoffs, she averaged 12.8 points per game, 3.2 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, 0.6 steals per game, 0.1 blocks per game. Shot 38.1 from the field, 34.5 from deep, and 78.4 from the stripe. Olympic numbers dip, but that's expected for most players. She had 3 tournaments and 19 total games. 4.9 points per game, 1.4 rebounds per game, 1.3 assists per game, 0.5 steals per game, and 0.1 blocks per game. Shot 31.1% from the field, which is interesting considering most people have their shooting numbers jump in the Olympics. But that's notable, of course, when you take a look at the three-point shooting. 41.1%, the line's in a little bit further, and 83.4% from. As we have a look here at Katie's career accolades in college, she was a one-time Big Ten Player of the Year in 1996. In the WNBA, she was a seven-time All-Star, 2000, 2003, 2005 to 2006, and in 2009. She was a two-time WNBA champion, 2006 and 2008, two-time All-WNBA First Team in 2001, 2003. She was the finals MVP of the 2008 championship team, a one-time scoring champion in 2001. She made the all-decade team in 2006 for the WNBA and was ranked one of the top 15 players of all time in the WNBA, their 15th anniversary in 2011, and was ranked in the top 20 at 20 for the WNBA's 20th anniversary list in 2016. Whilst also competing at the three Olympics, she garnered 3 Olympic gold medals, as I mentioned, Sydney 2000, Athens 2004, and Beijing 2008. Moving over to my next candidate, I have Kim Mulkey. She will be inducted, no doubt, as a player and a coach. Her college playing career spanned from the 80-81 season through the 83-84 season. Her Olympic career, she participated in the 84 games in Los Angeles, and her coaching career spanned from the 1984-5 NCAA season right through to the present day. She went to college at Louisiana Tech. 4 years she played. Unfortunately, her statistics are unknown. However, it should be noted in her accomplishments just how good of a player she really was. In the Olympics, she had 1 tournament and participated in the 6 games. 5.3 points per game, 1 rebound a game, 2.3 assists, 0.8 steals, no blocks, shot 50% from the field and 75% from the line. Her coaching career has spanned over 34 years and over 1,100 games. As an assistant head coach at Louisiana Tech, she held a record of 430 wins, 68 losses, and as head coach of Baylor University, 506 wins, 96 losses. Her career accolades through college: she was a one-time AIAW Division I championship winner in 1981 and a one-time NCAA Division I championship winner in 1982. The AIAW was the women's division before the Division I NCAA tournament. She was a one-time Francis Pomeroy Naismith Award winner in 1984, and in the Olympics she was a gold medal winner, one-time gold medal winner in 1984. So that should give you some idea just of the kind of player she was. As an assistant and associate head coach, she was a one-time NCAA Division I championship winner in 1988 and was inducted into the Louisiana Tech Athletic Hall of Fame in 1992. As head coach of the Baylor University women's side, she was inducted into the Women's Hall of Fame. Now, this is as a player, and that was in the class of 2000. Just recently, i.e. in the last 48 hours, she has become the head coach of a 9-time Big 12 regular season championship team, 2005 and 8 straight from 2011 through to 2018. She is an 8-time Big 12 tournament championship winner, 2005 and 2009 to 15. It is yet to be seen whether they will win the Big 12 tournament championship this year. She's a 5-time Big 12 Coach of the Year, 2005, 2011 to 2013, and in 2015. A 2-time NCAA Division I Championship Coach, 2005-2012. 2-time USBWA National Coach of the Year, 2011-2012. And 1-time College Coach of the Year in 2012. Awfully decorated. Again, it's going to be suggested that if she's in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame as a player, then she's going to be inducted under the premise of being a player and a coach as well. However, I do feel these tremendous coaching accolades are going to get her over the line regardless. My next induction as a men's coach is Charles Lefty Dressel, commonly known as Charlie Dressel. His college playing career spanned from 1952-53 to 1953-54, so just the 2 seasons there at Duke. And his coaching career spanned from 1960-61 right through to 2002-2003. As I mentioned, at college he spent 2 years at Duke in 45 games as a centre, mind you, 6'4" centre. So, I mean, definitely undersized, more like a Chase Budinger type centre. Not saying much there, sorry about that. 4 points per game, 2.4 rebounds per game, 41.4% from the field and 50% from the free throw line. His coaching career spanned 41 years and 1,180 games. He was the head coach of Davidson for a record of 176-65. Head coach of Maryland, most notably, 348 wins, 159 losses. Head coach of James Madison for 159 wins, 111 losses. And head coach of Georgia State for 103 wins, 59 losses. It should be noted that he is the only coach in college history to have actually been the head coach at 4 different universities and obtained 100 wins at all 4 of those universities. So as we sit here and look at his career accolades, they are a list that is a mile long, and as I mentioned, the only thing pretty much missing from it is an NCAA championship. As the head coach of Davidson, he was a 5-time South Conference regular season championship coach, 1964-66, 1968 and 1969. 4-time South Conference Coach of the Year, 1963 through to 66, and 3-time South Conference Tournament Championship winner, 1966, 1968 and 1969. At Maryland, he was a 2-time Atlantic Coast Conference or ACC regular season championship winner, 1975 and 80, and in those same years he was the ACC Conference Coach of the Year, so 2-time ACC Conference Coach of the Year. A 1-time NIT championship winner in 1972, so he did have a national championship, he just didn't have the NCAA Division I championship. And he was a 1-time ACC tournament championship winner in 1984. James Madison, he was a 5 times CAA or Colonial Athletic Association regular season championship winner from 90 to 94. A 2-time CAA Coach of the Year, 1990 and 1992, and a 1-time CAA Association Tournament Championship winner in 1994. And finally, at Georgia State, he was a 4-time Atlantic Sun Conference or ASC regular season championship winner, 1998, and then 2000 through to 2002. He's a 1-time ASC Tournament Championship winner in 2001. He was also the ASC Conference Coach of the Year in 2001 for 1 time only, and he was elected to the College Basketball Hall of Fame as a coach in the class of 2007. Dressel has been one of many subjects that probably should already be in the Hall of Fame. Has been skipped over many times, however, I do feel that now would be the right time. Moving on to the NBA, and this will be an NBA professional basketball induction, and that is Rudy Tomjanovich. As a men's player and coach, his college playing career spanned from 1967-68 to 1969-1970 for 3 years. His NBA playing career spanned 1970-71 to 1980-81. However, I do feel that had Kermit Washington not punched him in the face and near killed him, that could have been a little longer and maybe even a bit more productive. And his NBA coaching career spanned from 1983-84 as an assistant, leading into his head coaching role in the middle of the 91-2 season for the Rockets, to the end of the 2004-05 season, or middle of the 2004-05 season, with the Los Angeles Lakers. At college, he played for Michigan. In 3 years, he had 72 games, averaged 25.1 points per game and 14.4 rebounds per game, 48.1% shooting from the field and 68% from the free throw line. Rudy T was no slouch as a player in college and was certainly no slouch as a player in the NBA, where he played 11 seasons for the San Diego/Houston Rockets. They moved from San Diego after his first season. And the 11 seasons he played 768 games. Again, it would have been more seasons and games had he not been punched by Kermit Washington, and 5 playoff appearances for 37 games. In the regular season, he averaged 17.4 points per game, 8.1 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 0.7 steals, 0.3 blocks. 50.1% from the field, 26.2% from deep. However, he only managed to play 2 seasons with the 3-point line, and 78.4% from the stripe. In the playoffs, 13.9 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game, 1.6 assists per game, 0.3 steals per game, 0.2 blocks per game, 48.9 from the field, 10% from 3. Again, only played 2 seasons with the 3-point line, and 77.1% from the stripe. So certainly no slouch. Was an all-star player in his time, so there's no doubt he's going to be in as a player. I mean, his playing accolades, along with his coach, his college playing accolades and statistics, certainly back up his ability to be a Hall of Famer just as a player. But as a coach, he coached for 22 seasons and a total of 1,659 games. For some of you that, most of you will be aware, but for those of you that aren't, the college season runs a hell of a lot shorter than the NBA. That's why the games are going to be so vastly different. As an assistant coach for the Houston Rockets, he helped them to a record of 380 wins, 328 losses. There were some thin times there for the team. As head coach of the Rockets, 503 wins, 397 losses, but still 2 championships, which is quite remarkable with a win-loss record like that. He was head coach of the US men's Olympic team and held an 8-0 record there. That was, I believe, in Sydney. I believe it was the 2000 Olympics. And head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, 24-19 record before retiring as a head coach. Now, as we look at Tomjanovic's career accolades, not a big list, but certainly a durable list, no doubt. In college, he was a 2-time All-Big Ten first-team member in 1969 and 1970, a 1-time All-American second-team member in 1970, and his number was retired, number 45, at Michigan in 2003. As an NBA player, he was a 5-time All-Star, as I described before, a more than capable player, and probably could have been an All-Star player, a Hall of Fame player on his college and NBA playing career alone. So a 5-time All-Star, 1974 to 77, and again in 1979, and twice polled in MVP voting. In 1974 he finished 17th, and in 1975 he finished 21st. So during his time in the league was no doubt a top 20 player at his peak, and there aren't a lot of people in league history that can say that. Again, backed up with the ability to be an all-star, and the fact that his number 45 was retired by the Rockets pretty much immediately upon retirement in 1982. Talks about just how vital a cog he was to that Rockets team. He was obviously an NBA coach, and as a coach he was a 2-time NBA champion, 94-95 for the back-to-back Houston Rockets, led there in the picture by Hakeem Olajuwon. And he was a 1-time All-Star head coach for the West in 1997. And as mentioned, as the Olympic coach, a 1-time gold medal winner in Sydney in 2000. Again, you can only imagine just how more devastating an NBA player he may have been, and how much more capable he would have been of a coach when he signed to the Lakers, had he not been still sustaining repercussions from the Kermit Washington punch. Again, a big factor there, and one of the most notable in NBA history, that's for sure. My next inductee, I should say, would be in the men's player category, and this goes to Grant Hill, obviously notable for his college playing career from 1990-1991 through to 93-94 with Duke, and then his playing career most notable with the Detroit Pistons, the Orlando Magic, and the Phoenix Suns. From 1994-95 to 2012-2013, and also participated on Team USA in the Olympics in 1996. So as mentioned, his college of choice was Duke, 4 years for 129 games, 14.9 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 3.6 assists per game, 1.7 steals and 1 block per game. Pretty much an all-around versatile player. 53.2% from the field, 37.6% from deep, and 69.8% from the stripe. Probably a little bit to be desired there. In his 18 NBA seasons, he managed 1,026 games, and a lot of you are going to be sitting there going, oh, well, he could have played blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's true, but he was that badly beat up and injured that he wasn't able to do it. And he had 8 playoff appearances for 39 games. The regular season, he averaged 16.7 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4.1 assists, 1.2 steals, and 0.6 blocks. 48.3% from the field, which is pretty good considering the injury that he suffered. 31.4 3-point from 3, and 76.9% from the stripe. In the playoffs, he averaged 13.4 points per game, 6.1 rebounds per game, 3.6 assists per game, 0.9 steals, and 0.5 blocks a game. Shot at just under 47%, 49.6% from the field, 23.8% from deep, and 78.1% from the stripe. In the Olympics, he managed just the one tournament and the 6 games, 9.7 points per game, 2.8 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game, 3 steals per game. Was very, very good defensively in Olympic competition. 0.2 blocks per game, 61.1% from the field. You know, lights out shooting, lights out scoring. 33.3% from deep and 75% from the stripe. And as I mentioned, based on his playing ability, he will get in. I mean, has no coaching accolades at the moment, but I mean, he was that decorated as a college player. He probably could have gone in alone on that. And the way his NBA career was shining, there was a chance he could have just got in on that had he not been injured. So in college, he was a 2-time NCAA Division I champion, 91, 1992. That great Duke team, along with the likes of Christian Laettner and Bobby Hurley. He was a 1-time All-American first team in 1994, 1-time All-American second team in 1993, 1-time ACC Player of the Year in 1994, 1-time NABC Defensive Player of the Year in 1993, and his number 33 was retired by Duke in 1994, so pretty much he went straight to the league and they retired his number straight away. And funnily enough, his College Basketball Hall of Fame induction was in the class of 2014, obviously as a player. So again, College Basketball Hall of Fame, the retired number, you know, the ACC Conference Player of the Year, the championships, the first team, the second team, and as I mentioned, the Defensive Player of the Year. He was an awfully decorated college player and very well could have got into the Hall by himself as a college player. However, his NBA resume still pretty impressive itself. He was a co-rookie of the year with another member of this list in 1995, all-rookie first team in 1995, a 7-time All-Star from 1995 to 98, 2000 to 2001, and again in 2005 after his injury, which was good to see him back there. 5 times he polled in MVP voting. In 1996 he finished 9th, 1997 finished 3rd, that was the year that Karl Malone won it, 1998 finished 9th, 1999 finished 8th, and in 2000 finished 8th. He's a 4-time All-NBA second team member, 1996 and 1998 to 2000, and a 1-time All-NBA first team member in 1997. As we move over to Jason Kidd, who will be inducted as a men's player, certainly not decorated enough as a coach, but has basically had a taste of all facets of the game. His college playing career was only 2 seasons, the 92-3 season, the 93-4 season. His NBA playing career spanned from 94-5 through to 2012-2013, most notably with the Nets and Dallas. However, he did have spans playing with the Knicks and playing with Phoenix. Some of his most underrated ball played in Phoenix. His Olympic career was 2 games in 2000 and 2008. 2 Olympic games, I should say, not 2 actual games. And his NBA coaching career only ended just at the start of this season. So 2013-14 started with the Nets and was fired as head coach of the Bucks in 2017-2018. As I mentioned, in college he played with California for 2 years for 59 games, 14.9 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, 8.4 assists per game, 3.5 steals per game. Dominant on the stealing and the defensive end in college, 0.3 blocks per game. However, you certainly wouldn't rate him as the greatest defender in college history, but certainly one of the better defensive point guards that the game had seen. 46.8 from the field, 33.3% from the arc, and 77.7% from the free-throw line. In the NBA, he played 19 seasons for 1,391 games. Again, when your career span is the exact same amount of time as Grant Hill and the game difference is so big, you have to understand how much injury affects people. And he made 17 playoff appearances, 17 of his 19 seasons he went to the playoffs, an effective member of a basketball team, Jason Kidd. For 158 games, a very respectable total there. And numbers are very identical and very similar in this case. 12 points in the regular season, 12.6 points per game, 6.3 rebounds per game, 8.7 assists per game, 1.9 steals per game, and 0.3 blocks per game. Shot 40% from the field, 34.9 from deep, and 78.5% from the stripe. And in the playoffs, he somewhat raised his game a little bit in certain areas. 12.9 points per game, 6.7 rebounds per game, 8 assists per game, 1.9 steals per game, 0.3 blocks per game. 39.1 from the field shooting, 32.2% shooting from deep, and 78.1% shooting from the free throw line. The Olympics competed in 2 tournaments for 8 games, competing in 2000 in Sydney, 2008 in Beijing. 3.8 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, 3.2 assists per game. Certainly played his role on the team. 0.9 steals per game, 0.2 blocks per game. Shot 69.7 from the field, 50% from 3, and 80% from deep. That does tell you just how much international competition wasn't affecting Jason Kidd's ability to perform, particularly on the shooting end. He had 5 seasons as a head coach for 373 games. His head coach tenure with the Brooklyn Nets resulted in a 44-38 record, and as head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, they posted a 139-152 record. His resume reads tremendously well, both in college, but most obviously in college, but certainly in the NBA. In college, he was a 1-time All-American first-team player in 1994. He was the USBWA National Freshman of the Year in 1993. He was the PCC or Pacific Coast Conference Player of the Year in 1994, PCC Conference Freshman of the Year in 1993, and he had his number 5 retired at California in 2004. One of the better players that organisation that program has seen. In the NBA, it's a who's who on the list. There wasn't much he didn't do as an NBA player. He was a 10-time All-Star in 1996, 1998, 2000 to 2004, 2007, 2008, and 2010. He appeared 8 times in MVP voting. 1995 finished 13th, 1998 13th, 1999 he was 5th. That was the year that Karl Malone won the MVP for Utah. 2000 he was 11th, 2001 he was 8th, that was the year Allen Iverson won. 2002 he finished 2nd, that was the year that he went runner-up to Tim Duncan. 2003 Tim Duncan back-to-back with Jason Kidd finishing 9th, and in 2004 falling short to Kevin Garnett, he finished 8th. So again, a little guy against these big guys in this big guy league, again putting up some tremendous appearances and numbers. 5-time All-NBA first-team member, 1999 to 2002, and again in 2004. 5-time All-Defensive second-team member, 2000, 2003 to 2005, and 2007. 5-time assist leader, 99 to 2001, 2003 to 2004. 4-time All-Defensive first-team member, 1999, 2000 to 2001 to 2002, and 2006. He was a 1-time NBA champion with Dallas Mavericks in 2011. 1-time All-NBA second-team member in 2003, a 1-time Skills Challenge champion in 2003. He was co-rookie of the year with Grant Hill in 1995, All-Rookie first team in 1995, USA Basketball Male Athlete of the Year in 2007, and his number 5 was retired by the Brooklyn Nets in 2013. Again, a who's who list for Jason Kidd in the career accolades department. Looking ahead here to my final member of the class, and that is probably the most touted member of this class, Steve Nash. Probably the only other first ballot Hall of Famer as far as a player is concerned in men's basketball, other than Jason Kidd. The only thing Jason Kidd really was missing there was an MVP. The only thing really Steve Nash is missing is a championship, and I guarantee you that Nash would trade both MVPs for a championship. In saying that, Jason Kidd probably would have liked to have won in 2002 or 2003. It probably would have been a little bit handy to trade one for the other. But as we look here for Steve Nash's career, his college was 1992 to 1993, through to 95-96 at Santa Clara, and his NBA career was 96-97 through to 2013-2014, but also led Canada to the Olympics in 2000 in Sydney. At Santa Clara, he played 4 years for 113 games and had a standout career. 14.9 points per game, 3.1 rebounds per game, 4.5 assists per game. Again, this should be noted. This is a lot of this before the rules changes, so you can see why his assist numbers may be low. Again, not a noted defender during his career, but capable of picking up a steal here or there. 1.3 steals per game, 0.1 blocks per game, 43% from the field, which would improve tremendously over time with the rules, and 40.1% from deep. Tremendous outside shooter nonetheless. 86.7 from the stripe. So overall, he had one of the best jump shots in league history, and that was obvious signs at college with that. In the NBA, he played 18 seasons for 1,217 games, 12 playoff appearances. Again, this should be noted. He's played the same amount of seasons as a Grant Hill, and 200 games more essentially, which is kind of a worry. Again, just tells you, how much injury affects a person. And he had 12 playoff appearances for 120 games. He had 14.3 points per game, 8.3 rebounds per game, 5.8 assists per game, 0.7 steals, 0.1 blocks on 49% shooting from the field, 42.8% from deep, and 90.4% from the stripe. Probably the closest we've ever seen anyone come to having a 50-40-90 shooting career. It's unbelievable how well he shot the basketball. Again, you guys look at someone like a Steph Curry and guys like a Ray Allen. I think Steve Nash needs to be in the conversation as one of the greatest shooters in history. 17.3 points per game. This is the playoffs now, mind you. 17.3 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, 8.8 assists per game, 0.6 steals and 0.1 blocks, 47.3% from the field, 40.6% from deep, and 90% from the stripe. Consistent numbers there. And in the Olympics, for one tournament and 7 games for Canada, 13.7 points per game, 3.3 rebounds per game, 6.9 assists per game, 0.1 steals and 0.1 blocks per game, 45.1% from the field, 45.8% from deep. Tremendous outside shooting touch, both in the NBA 3-point line and the FIBA 3-point line, and 84% from the stripe. Tremendous numbers there for Steve Nash. And as we come across to his career accolades, certainly his college career wouldn't have got him in the Hall of Fame, but with what he produced in the NBA, certainly first ballot, no doubt about it. In college, he was a 2-time West Coast Conference or WestCC Player of the Year, 1995-1996, and his number 11 was retired at Santa Clara in 2006. I'm pretty sure it was the first number retired by the program, so that speaks volumes of the kind of alumni he was there. In the NBA, he was an 8-time All-Star, 2002 to 2003, 2005 to 2008, 2010 and 2012. He polled 8 times in MVP voting. 2002 he finished 14th, 2003 finished 11th, obviously winning it back-to-back in 2005 and 6. Second in 2007 to Dirk Nowitzki. Many people will make the argument that with the way the Mavs were bundled out in the first round, one of the few teams ever bundled out from the first seed by an 8th seed, obviously. And the fact that the Suns made the conference finals and probably could have made the NBA finals, who's to say that he wasn't a 3-time MVP? Again, this was after the rules were laxed. 2008 finished 9th to Kobe Bryant. 2010 finished 8th to LeBron James, and 2012 finished 9th to LeBron James. He's a 5-time assist leader, 2005 to 2007, and 2010 to 2011. 4 times he was a member of the 50-40-90 club, so 50% from the field, 40% from deep, and 90% from the free throw line. 2006 and 2008 to 2010. He's a 3-time All-NBA first-team member, 2005 to 2007. Again, at his absolute peak, he was the best point guard in the game. I mean, there aren't many that can say in their absolute peak run they were the absolute best, and won the MVP twice, and should have probably won a third. Last guy to do that pretty much was other than say someone like a LeBron, was probably Michael and Larry. I mean, maybe even Shaq, but Shaq just didn't have the MVPs. But Michael and Larry certainly in that conversation. Two-time All-NBA second team member, 2008 to 2010, 2008 and 2010. Two-time All-NBA third team member, 2002 to 2003. He won the MVP in 2005 and 2006, and was a two-time Skills Challenge champion, 2005 to 2010. And his number 13 was retired by Phoenix in 2015. Probably their greatest point guard. The only guy that comes into the conversation there is Kevin Johnson. I mean, he's arguably the greatest Phoenix Sun of all time, so a lot going for him. And as I mentioned, with a resume like that, the MVPs, the MVP voting, the All-Stars, the shooting, being in the All-NBA first team at the absolute zenith of his career, to me, screams first ballot Hall of Famer. So Steve Nash going rightfully where he belongs, and hopefully he is head of the class, so to speak. Again, there were the other guys that I had mentioned, the likes of a Chris Webber, a Ray Allen, a Mo Cheeks, a Tina Thompson, the Baptist University are coming in. But as I said, I feel these guys are the guys that have to go in this year. And yeah, we hopefully will see more inductees of their caliber over the coming years. Anyway, guys, that's been me. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hit the like button and leave a comment who you thought should be in the Hall of Fame this year. Do you think guys like Ray Allen, Mo Cheeks, Chris Webber are unlucky? Do you think that maybe I've missed some of the women that should be going in? Do you think I should have inducted, that maybe the Baptist University should be in? Again, my reasonings are that a lot of these guys will be going in later. I've come up with a couple of lists that I will be posting over the next week or so in regards to future Hall of Famers, players, coaches, and the teams and the women that should be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I would like to see them actually do a women's class, because getting 2 or 3 in dribs and drabs, the contribution that the girls have added to the game of basketball is actually profound when you go and look at it. Again, I'm usually covering NBA stuff, but again, predominantly male group going in. I know they have the Women's Hall of Fame, but at the same time, this is the Basketball Hall of Fame. This isn't the Men's Hall of Fame. This is the Basketball Hall of Fame, and a lot of contributors in the Women's should be in the Men's, and even those that aren't in the Women's that should already be in the Men's, and vice versa. The amount of people that contributed purely through college that aren't in, that need to probably go in when you look at some of the professionals that went in on their resumes. So, and the likes of, when you've got executives and stuff going in whose contribution in comparison to these people isn't the same. But again, got a couple of lists coming up, and we'll see what people think of those. So again, hit the like button, leave a comment, leave your feedback on the Hall of Fame in general, who'd be your class, who'd be your inductees, and subscribe to the channel and let me know what you think. Again, I'll have those lists coming out. I've got some other stuff to catch up on. Games resume Friday, our time, Thursday in the US, so I'll be able to hopefully get a few extra days in to entail who my long player of the week will be, and that will help contribute to my player of the month. Hit me up on Twitter, Justin_J_Bryan. I've got a few polls running as to who my MVP, my Rookie of the Year, my Sixth Man, my Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year are. At the moment, you might have to scroll through and find them, but I'll be retweeting them, once a day to keep them relevant. And again, just head over there for general basketball chat and chat in general. Thank you very much, guys, for watching the video. Again, this has been my Hall of Fame class for 2018, and as mentioned, we'll be updating you on potential Hall of Fame lists in the coming weeks. Thanks very much, guys, and I'll catch you again next time.